this learning session, you will learn how to locate the tax updates, identify the update requirements, and successfully install and activate your tax update. So why update tax tables? Well, when there's changes in tax code, it's the employer's responsibility to update the tax tables to ensure the proper taxes are being withheld. Tax tables are changed periodically through the calendar year. For example, in Canada, it's typically twice a year on June 30th and December 31st. In the US, it could be quarterly or less often. I will show you where the tax updates are found so that you can periodically go out and verify that there's no updates that are needed. To locate your tax updates, you would need to log on to the customer portal, and here's the website. There are two articles that I will mention that are going to be the most helpful. The first one is the Knowledge Base Article 72564, which outlines the installation steps, and Knowledge Base Article 45424, which provides the links to the downloads. Before you download the update, you'll need to validate the version of the software that you're running to make sure that you get the right download. So we're going to follow this process today of preparing for and installing the tax table updates. First of all, we need to verify the version and location of the program files for Sage 300. We'll then download the correct tax table install. And before we install the tax update, we need to ensure users are logged out of the system, back up Sage 300, install the tax update, and then go into Sage 300 and activate. Once you've activated the tax tables, then you can go into the Help menu and verify that the tax table has been activated. Alright, the first step is to verify the version and the location of the program files. You can do this by logging on to Sage 300 and under your Help drop-down menu, go to About Sage 300. Then click on System Information. This will tell you the version of Sage 300 that you're running, which is the System Manager version. My version is 2018. I also now identify where my program files are, and this is on the local drive. We want to know for each workstation that runs Sage 300 if they're locally installed or if they're feeding out to the network through a workstation setup. For this computer, this workstation, this is a local install as indicated by my C drive here. I also want to locate the payroll that's being used by this company. The company that I'm logged onto is Sample Company Inc., and you'll notice that I have Canadian Payroll here. Because it doesn't have a check mark, that tells me that this has not been activated. So I'm not using Canadian Payroll in Sample Company Inc. If I scroll down to the bottom, I am, however, using US Payroll because that has a red check mark. It's been activated, and so US Payroll version 7.3. In addition, my latest tax update that I have installed is June 30th, so it's 7.3c. So those items I need to keep note of, and then I'm going to go out to the customer portal and see if there's a tax update that is later than the June 30th tax update for US Payroll 7.3. I can close out of here and go out to the customer portal. I've already logged in for us. The downloads are under KB and Downloads, and I want to click on the Sage Knowledge Base. And now I can search the knowledge base for my tax updates. I can then also choose the product, Sage 300. And even though we have choices for the different product versions, I'm just going to choose Sage 300 and click Find. And now I have the information on the right. So here we can download Sage 300 ERP 2017 Canadian Payroll 7.3. We have New York State tax changes, income tax changes for state of Illinois. There's a lot of information here. So those KB articles that I mentioned to you earlier are going to be your easiest way to look for and download the tax updates. The first KB article that I mentioned, you can just type in the number. It's 72564. And it tells us how to download and install Sage 300 Payroll Updates. So that's what we want. And it says that we use this for 2014, 2016, and 2017. I know it works for 2018 also, but they haven't had a chance to update this yet. So that is why I never search for the version necessarily. You could always reach out to support if you ever had a question about whether the appropriate tax update is valid for your software. So here is the resolution. So preparation, we want to create a full backup of the database, which I've already mentioned. Then we download the executable file, and then we install. So we need to ensure all users are out of the system, copy the downloaded file to a folder on the server where the Sage 300 program is installed. So that means for every workstation that has a local install, you'll need to copy that downloaded file to that workstation as well. Then double-click on the executable file to install. We'll perform it for each workstation that has a local install. And then once we're done, then we activate. And we'll walk through the activation. So next up is to download the payroll update. So we're going to click here. And it actually takes us to that other article I mentioned, 45424. And it tells you that if you cannot open the download, make sure you have an active gold plan or a silver plan where you can purchase separate payroll updates. If you have any questions, you can contact sales at this number. Make sure you're logged into the knowledge base and have proper permissions to view the download. It reminds us that Payroll for Sage 300 2014 is no longer supported, and there are no 2017 Quarter 3 updates for the Canadian payroll modules. Obviously, this What's New will change as we go through this, because the video that I'm creating now might last 1 or 2 seasons, so always look out here for the latest. Next up, we need to identify the correct download that we're using. There are 2 payroll versions. There's a 7.2, and this is appropriate for users that are on Sage 300 version 2016. If you're on Sage 300 version 2017 or 2018, then you need Payroll 7.3. And then of course you would look for either Canada or US. So Sample Company Inc. is a US company. So I'm going to find my US company 7.3 because I'm on version 2018. And then I have 2 to pick from. I have Quarter 2 or Quarter 3. Well, I need Quarter 3. If I need State of Illinois or State of Kansas or New York, then I need to look at these downloads as well. And if I need an update to my workforce forms, here is a link to this update as well. So I'm going to click on Download Sage 300 ERP 2018 US Payroll 7.3. Alright, it's appropriate for 2018 and 2017. It gives us some notes to keep in mind. And then we agree to the terms and conditions of the download, and then click Download Now. But just wait. Before you do that, always read the release notes. The release notes, as we scroll down, will tell you the software requirements, support and resources that may help you during this process, and then the changes to the payroll taxes that we're downloading. And it gives the rate information and effective date. So always read the release notes, download them before you download the file. When you're ready, download the file. Okay, I have my download ready to go. Before I do the next step, I need to ensure that all the users are out of Sage 300, which I myself still have open. One way you can do this is under the Help menu, go to Current Users. So it shows, I can click on Show Screens Users Have Open. I have the administrator logged in, and I only have one person on. And they're currently in the desktop screen. And that makes sense because that's where I'm at. I'll close out of this, and then I need to log out. So I'm going to close out of the company and exit. Now I can install my update. When you get to the wizard, click Next. Accept the terms of the license agreement to move forward. Select Program Files, and then if you also have direct deposit, then you need to check that item as well. I do not have direct deposit, so I'm going to uncheck that and click Next. And then click Install. Once you're done installing, then click Finish, and you can close out of your File Explorer and log back into Sage 300. Log into the company for which you just installed the tax update. And you need to log in as the administrator. You'll notice that you'll get a prompt that says that there's update inconsistencies and requires activation. So this is the tax update that we just installed. You're not going to be able to use the program until you activate this information and get it up to speed. So go to Administrative Services, Data Activation, verify that you've backed up your database, and proceed. Now we updated the U.S. payroll tax update. Here's the September 30th one. It's already checked. Everything else is unchecked. I do not want to install Canadian payroll. So I'll click Next and then Activate. Once we've activated, click Close, and you should now have all of your modules back and running. The last thing on the list is to verify that the tax update is installed. So go up to your Help drop-down, go to About Sage 300, System Info, and find your U.S. payroll, and here is the latest tax update, and that's the one checked, and June 30th is no longer checked. And close that out, and that concludes the video on how to install and activate your tax update.